Welcome to Two Across, the podcast that's like the Sunday puzzle for your ears, but with more swearing, where we dissect and analyze the New York Times daily crossword. I'm Alex.
And I'm Michael. On the pod today, we're talking about bowling, artistes, and when you can verb a noun. So grab your crosswords and a pencil,
Or if you're feeling frisky, a pen.
because this is Two Across, and we're here to nuzzle your puzzle. Ba-da-da-bow. Yeah.
Welcome to Two Across. In this week of crosswords where we return to the non-square grid and also to Michael and Alex disagreeing on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of conflict this week. We're going to get into it.
Not a lot of conflict on Monday.
No.
We both loved Monday. It was, pretty straightforward. You've got some nice repetition in the answers. They all work perfectly well. Yeah. What's done is done. A deal is a deal. Fair is fair. Love is love, which is great. And it is what it is. Shout outs to Mac Miller. And yeah, there was one cross that you didn't like this on Monday.
There was
I think it was base ale.
base ale.
Bass
Yeah.
ale.
I did not
And
like
then
that one.
Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Sinead O'Connor, and I like to see her in a puzzle. I don't like crossing that with is it base ale or bass ale?
I think it's bass ale. I think
Gotta
it's
be
fishy.
Yeah, it's a fish based brew.
Yeah. Really
Um,
good.
But it's a bad cross just because it's one bad clue crossed with a proper noun. So if you knew the proper noun, great. If not, maybe you didn't have that one square. You were like, is it bash ale? It's not like Sinead is a super common name outside of the UK. But yeah, this puzzle was a delight. I think, this is the first time we've ever had love is love in a puzzle. And that's one of my favorite phrases in the world. So, and it's clued great. Redundantly is fun. This is Gia Bosco's second puzzle, and we really liked her first puzzle.
We did.
So she's now like on the hot list. I see Gia Bosco, I'm going to be excited, especially because this Monday, you can kind of just tell by looking at it, it's so open. There's not a ton of black squares, and there's so many long clues, which you just so rarely get on Mondays. So we've got all these long things. We've got, deems fit and spam a lot and drying up and it's a test, and they're all good. And then we also have suffixed, which is not good. It's probably the worst thing in the puzzle. You liked it though.
I did like it. I don't know that it's clued as a noun. Or as a verb, excuse me, as a verb.
Yeah.
Suffixed is a noun. It's clued as a verb. Added.
Suffixed is a noun?
Suffix with no ed is a noun.
Yeah. Right.
A suffix.
Yeah.
Like ness in kindness. But added at the end, it could be an adjective. Added at the end could be a characteristic of a noun. Suffixed. This word was suffixed.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be this person suffixed this word. They added ness to kind and made it kindness. How did they do it? They suffixed it. And I'm a big fan of verbing nouns. And
Really?
I am. I like verbing nouns. And I just verbed verb. And it was fun to me. I think part of it is that it was reasonably gettable. And it's clued in a way that you feel like, okay, it's past tense. It's probably going to end in ed. Ness in and kindness is clearly a suffix. So I think I see what you're doing. It's a little bit, to me, it's it's fun and a little bit cheeky, and I didn't mind it. And I think part of it is that, as you said, this puzzle is so good. This puzzle does Monday really well. It is accessible, like we were talking about last week, of wanting Mondays to be accessible to people. I think this is a very solvable puzzle. I think it's a fun theme that allows us to get things like love is love, and also it is what it is, which is one of my favorite sayings ever. And all of those things, I was actually getting ready, even with Bass Ale and Sinead, I was ready to sit here and ask you, like, are you ready to supplant the Pizza Party Monday puzzle as, like, with this as like the puzzle against which all future Mondays will be judged? Back in November, Taylor Johnson did a puzzle on November 14th of 2022 where all the themes, it was like wheat sauce and I can't remember the other one, upper crust, I think, and something with cheese, and it became Pizza Party, and it was such a great Monday. And like this is up there for me. This is the fact that we were able to get such long clues, get them so accessibly, have it look like a Friday and play like a Monday. I was just so impressed.
Yeah, I'm worried to put all Mondays to this rubric, just because the fact that all Mondays haven't been like this seems like it's really hard to make Mondays like this, and we need more Mondays. And so I don't want to be like, oh, it didn't do that kind of special thing that Gia's Monday did, so we don't like it as much. I don't know, maybe if we start seeing more of these and this can be like the thing that started it all, then this can supplant Pizza Party. For me, Pizza Party feels more like a classic Monday. But yeah, I would love it if all Mondays were like this open. I don't know if it made it harder. I wonder, we can.
I don't think it did.
I mean, not for us, but perhaps for someone else. Perhaps like a more shorter words makes it easier to figure out where you are.
Perhaps.
Suffix is on the bad side. I think that there's a spectrum of verbing nouns, and if it's a thing that people do all the time, it's totally fine. If it's a thing no one ever does, you would hate it, right? I'm wearing a shirt about ramens. So if the clue was like, went to get Japanese noodles, cheekily, ramened, we ramened it up, you would hate it. You would hate it, even though it's verbing a noun, right? Because it's not a thing. No one's ever said that. This is like a little bit on that side of no one's ever said this. Obviously, someone said this, and it's been written thousands of times in books all over the world, but it's just not colloquial at all. So like it's inching into that territory of not super common usage, and yeah, that's why I don't like it. I don't think it's like verbing nouns is always good or always bad. Definitely a spectrum. I'm sure you agree.
I definitely agree. I think that this one is it sounds like you think it falls a little bit this side of center. I think it falls a little bit of this side of center. Reasonable minds can disagree on this one.
They can.
Shout out to Shaquille O'Neal.
Always.
The big fundamental, they call him.
Is that true?
No, that's Tim Duncan.
He's got his fundamentals down though. Dunking, blocking. And that's
do you have a favorite Shaquille O'Neal nickname?
The Big Unit.
The Big Unit?
Yeah.
I think my favorite is when he played for the Phoenix Suns and he called himself Shactus.
Oh, that's good.
That's
very good.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Let's talk about Tuesday.
Tuesday, another puzzle that we both enjoyed.
Yeah, it was. This was a theme that I did not get. I figured out the revealer, and normally what's unique about this puzzle is that when you have themes that you don't get, sometimes it's because they don't have a revealer clue, and you have to just do all of them and then kind of look and be like, oh, I see what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And so that's happened to me before. I think this might be the first time that I've read a revealer clue and still been like, huh? like, how do organic products get shipped? I want a piece of me. I don't understand. I don't know. And it wasn't until I read the constructor notes that I realized want a piece of me starts with WA, ends with ME. Both of those are state abbreviations. Organic product is Oregon and Connecticut. Candy Crush Saga, two places I've lived, California and Georgia. So the clues are literally going from coast to coast, and they're also literally going from the West Coast to the East Coast in a way that I appreciated.
In the same like latitude, basically.
Yeah, they're going from north to south. They're
Washington,
kind of laying
Maine
out
on the top,
right.
Oregon, Connecticut, California, Georgia.
Yeah. And I wished that my only problem with this puzzle was that I wish that the New York Times had prepared like a little bit more of an animation for this. And I don't know that I am identifying a problem without offering a solution here. So I get that, but I don't know what that animation would have been. I think maybe it's too obvious if you do the thing where you shade in the first two boxes and the last two boxes. Maybe that's too obvious. Maybe
I don't think so. I don't think so. That's what I was gonna say. Is that's what I want. It's just some shades on those things because I'm like you that I literally did the whole puzzle not knowing. I thought Go Coast to Coast was like, is it just because they're spanning the grid?
That's what I
like
thought.
That can't be it. That's the most generic theme imaginable. Shade the boxes. It's a Tuesday. What percentage of people do you think figured out that it was state abbreviations?
Without looking at anything, I would guess 1 in 20 people who solved this puzzle. I think it's low.
I agree. That sounds about right to me, 1 in 20. And there's literally no way to know.
Which is the best time to make a prediction, for the record.
Exactly. But yeah, it's incredibly hard to pick up on that. There's no clues. So what is it? It's a description of what they do. A description of what they do. That is just it. They go coast to coast. Okay. Ugh. I don't get it. I honestly shade the boxes. Shade the boxes. There's no what? Why? I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, I think you're exactly right. I was going to say you could shade the boxes. You could potentially circle the letters. There's part of me. We've seen the New York Times get somewhat creative with their animations before. I did a very crude version of this in our Instagram rapid reactions. But you could have had a little animation of the state's shape like popping up and like circling it or getting on top of it or something like that so that you get to see the actual coastline. That would have been pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But alas, it was not meant to be. And I don't think that is a Taylor Johnson and Jeff Chen problem. I think that's Will Short's problem.
Agreed.
Although Jeff Chen works at the New York Times, doesn't he?
He does.
I think it was like it's Taylor Johnson's like third puzzle with the New York Times, and it's Jeff Chen's like 162nd or something like that.
Yeah, Jeff Chen is a really
pretty prolific.
He's prolific. He's very popular for people to reach out and collaborate with. I have a theory that people submit puzzles and the editors are like, hey, will you work with Jeff Chen to, kind of shuffle things around a little bit?
Sure.
That's kind of how he gets in on so many. He's just like the go-to guy for that.
Right. Some puzzles just need edits and others might need a little bit more working with, but maybe that's where that comes in.
Yeah. So it's sort of Jeff. I mean, he could have submitted this thing with shades, but he wasn't probably the editor on this one. So it's a bizarre choice. It's a bizarre choice to make this themer so hard to see.
Yeah, it's you don't get the reward, and the reason to do a theme in a crossword is so that the person solving can have that light bulb aha moment. And sometimes the light bulb moment helps you solve clues. Sometimes the aha moment is like unlocks the whole puzzle. Other times you just look at it and you go, oh, I see what you did there. You know, sometimes it's a bit of both. This, you know, with no payoff at all, you're kind of left to go searching. And I did that for a minute. I kind of looked at the puzzle and I was like, I don't think I'm done. The New York Times has told me that I'm done with this puzzle, but I don't think I am.
Yeah. All that said, it's a great piece of construction, and it's very impressive. And I love that the states go to the states on the same latitude, basically. So really impressive. I wish I could have enjoyed that while I was solving it and not just afterwards looking at it.
Yeah. Let's talk about Wednesday. Wednesday is one of my favorite puzzles in a long, long time. It is, as we have said on this pod before, Wednesday I think is my like favorite day of the week because you can do things that are a little bit more tough, but you're still like emphasizing themes, creative themes, fun clues, and this is just like a perfect example of that in motion. You get four themers, and they're all 15 letters long, and each one of them is 5 letters repeated in different orders to create anagrams in order to create meaning. Ignoring what my assistant said, AIDS ideas aside, my favorite one, what might be found outside a hipster cafeteria, stray artsy trays, wetsuit vis-a-vis a team triathlon, is literally the early relay layer. That's perfect. And then the fourth one, engravings, for example, are notes set on stone. And that one is one where it's not 3 words, it's 4 words. So it's so close. I give it a pass because they put it in the 4th spot. So you've done 3, and this is the one where they change it up.
I don't mind that it's 4 words at all.
But you know that I'm a person who I would love the consistency. That would be my favorite. I know it doesn't matter to you.
I think it's just as fun with 4 words. I think all of them could have 4 or 5 or 6 words. And for me, it's about the letters. It's always been about the letters for me. More of a letter guy. I was a little upset with the 4th one because it's set in stone is like the way that you say that. It's set in stone. Nobody says set on stone. You get it, and technically they are set on stone. So like, again, give it a pass. But yeah, I totally agree. This puzzle was a lot of fun, and I tried to find other puzzles that did this because it seems like such an obvious thing to do, and that there would be a lot of these. You know, puzzles are 15 letters long, and so let's break it up into 3 anagrams. But I couldn't find anything. It's kind of hard to search for this. You can't just like search anagram. You like have to have the clue ideas, and the thing that lets you know this is an anagram is the word redundantly, or no, this was just clued wackily. So like, there's no way to search for the specific idea.
There's nothing tying these clues together except for question marks.
Yeah. So I didn't find anything though, and so what a cool idea and what a fun way to build some 15-letter acrosses.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that great mix of the wackiness with the actual helping you to solve it. It's like an extra clue. If you can figure out stray, then you know that there's going to be those 5 letters repeated. Or even if you don't know stray, but you have the STR, it's like, well, I've got to put an S and a T and an R twice more in this line. Where's it going to go? It's like extra fun solving joy.
Yeah. And this was another collaboration. This was a collaboration between Olivia Amitra Fromke. I don't know. I'm probably butchering that pronunciation.
Yeah.
And Brooke Husick. Brooke was, we just recently talked about her. She was featured in the crossword a couple of Thursdays ago doing another collaboration that we really liked. This was when 2 halves of two words both meant the same thing. It was rib roast and pothead and drop kick and a couple other ones.
Yeah, so that was her first Thursday, and this was her first Wednesday. And
So
it was a great Thursday. This is a great Wednesday. She's like showing she can do it all.
and I love a good collaboration. I love it.
Oh yeah, I agree. And they got Alex in there, 22 across, which is always great to see. And yeah, shout outs to Prue Leith. I like to see more Great British Bake Off in the puzzle. I think it's only a matter of time before there's a Great British Bake Off themed puzzle, because I would imagine the Venn diagrams of people who do crosswords and people who would enjoy GBBO, basically one circle. So yeah, this solid Wednesday. I guess we agree. Wednesday was also solid. So we had 3 puzzles that we agreed on.
We started the week really strong in agreement with 3 really good puzzles.
Yeah. Great puzzles.
And then we continued it with a 4th really good puzzle on Tuesday.
We did it.
This was a return of the rebus.
We really did it.
We get 5 themers. The revealer at the bottom, not enough and without the urgency to make a difference or a literal hint. The clue is too little, too late. And then the other 4 are all phrases that have the word TOO in them, but the word to, instead of being at the beginning of the phrase, is put at the end of the phrase, and it's put in a rebus. So the letters are literally too little, and they are literally too late. So you get close for comfort 2, hot to handle 2, cool for school 2. It's a really, really fun theme.
Agreed. And a great rebus and a great use of a rebus. My favorite kind of rebus, where all the boxes are the same, or at least like very closely connected, and you can like figure out ahead of time where the rebuses are going to go. They're going to be in those theme clues, and if you can figure out the theme, it can help you decide where they go. Not just, oh, somewhere in this puzzle there's going to be 5 fuck you squares. Hope you can find them. It's probably the places where you're the most upset. Here it's like, if you can figure out what they're trying to do, then you know it's going to be okay. It's going to be 2 at the end. That to me is the best kind of rebus. If you have to do a rebus, I want it to be that.
And there are some really difficult clues in here. There's some bad fill in this puzzle, which sometimes you get not only with a puzzle with rebuses, but also with a puzzle where you're fitting 5 themers in a 15. We had a 16 by 15 grid here.
Yeah.
And just like a very packed puzzle. We've got some tough stuff. I'm sure you'll get into some of the specifics, but for me, most of the toughest things are crossing at least 1, sometimes 2, occasionally 3 theme clues, and the rebuses make up for it for me. Go ahead, though. Go off. Disagree.
I think that there's a limit to how much bad fill you can have in a puzzle, and I think no matter how good the theme is, you can go over that limit. I agree. It's a really good theme, and it's really hard to fit 5 themers that are this long into a puzzle. But this puzzle for me, I couldn't enjoy the theme because I was so upset at some of this fill. Even like the longer things, like 3 down, Geometro. Who likes this?
I've never heard of Geometro.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's car enthusiasts out there, or somebody who drove a Geometro at some point in their life. It's like, oh man, my car finally made it in there. But like, it's not fun, and it's, we could have had something fun there that's 8 letters long. Yeah, it's crossing 2 of your themers, but like, that's the first thing. We also got Nene Cherry, who I'm sure was just a huge star in 1988, but not today. It's right next to Dark Star, which again, I'm sure people loved this movie in 1974. It's it's not in the zeitgeist. It's not a thing that people talk about. It's just a movie, and it's called Dark Star, and now you can go watch it. And I'm sure they wanted to clue Encino as Encino Man, another cult classic movie from that same time period, but they couldn't because it was right next to Dark Star. So they went with Los Angeles neighborhood whose name means oak in Spanish. Encino, California. Again,
It's a nice little town. For those of you who have been to SoCal, I always love when a little bit of SoCal gets in there because whenever they do New York geography, I'm always like, well, we'll try to get it on the crosses. And so I'm sure that's how people who have not lived in Southern California and don't know Spanish, they're like, well, I've got no ends on this one. So yeah, these things happen.
Yeah, they happen, and they happen right next to each other on 7 and 8 down, and I hate it.
Yes, but on 7 and 8 down, you next to each other is tough, but it's not as tough as when clues cross each other. And
Yeah.
we don't have a lot.
Luckily, they don't cross with anything like peed, centipede, millipede. It's easier to get, but it's not good.
We get ending with all the time. I actually like that because it was a misdirect. You see it and you're like, I guess gram. I've got 4 letters. I don't know if that's what you put. That's what I put first. I was like, that's the only unit of measurement I can think of that's 4 letters. So I
had PDF because of Adobe. That was kind of a gimme.
Sure.
So I knew it had to be peed, and I grumbled to myself while I was writing it in.
Oh, I see. I put gram first, and then I liked it when I realized it was peed. I think that the crosses here help you. And 25 down and 36 across, ma and is this comfit? Is that how you pronounced it? I don't know how to pronounce this word.
Me neither.
Candied fruits or nuts, comfits. I don't know. Yeah. Either way, not a fan of that cross.
Ma crosses Dark Star as well.
It is. It does. But you knew it was going to be ma. You knew it was going to be ba, at least. That was what I thought. And I don't know. Dark Star for me is not as bad as Encino, and that's even knowing Encino, because Dark Star, eventually you're like, okay, it's sci-fi. It starts with ST. Like, yeah. It's probably some kind of star. And look, you are absolutely right. There's some tough clues in here. We've got
Asmara, 9 across, 12 down, crossing that atrial. Go ahead.
We also get
Bachata, 27 down,
which crosses three themes.
Romantic music genre originating in the Republic. I get it. It's hard to build grids, and it's even harder when you have these long things, but it doesn't make it an enjoyable puzzle because it was tough for them to build this.
but you know what does make it an enjoyable puzzle is 8 and Ran and R2D2 and Toolbox and Tootin'. We get Tootin' in this puzzle?
Yeah. Fun. No, I'm 100% with you. Every theme and everything that crosses the theme with the twos, super fun. I personally don't think it's worth it for the rest of this.
Shout out to all the children entrepreneurs who are getting ready for lemonade stand season this summer.
Yeah, hopefully there's not too many monoxides that can cross you.
Let's talk about Friday.
Good. Let's talk about Friday.
Well, you go ahead on Friday. You were underwhelmed with this.
Friday, I was underwhelmed. Friday, the mark of a good Friday for me is just a good amount of difficulty, right? Like, but the difficulty isn't just there to like screw you over. It's there so that when you figure it out, you're like, oh, that's what they meant, right? So there's a lot of clever cluing, and the long clues here music video on a good day, white space, I mean to say, love to hate, apple teenies, like these are all fine, but I still felt underwhelmed. And going back, I think it's because of the clues. It's because of the clues. I think that there were a lot of things that were clued in just not clever or fun ways. Like the Clue music video. Imagine all the possibilities of how to clue something music video. We so rarely get to think about music videos in the context of the crossword puzzle. You could reference specific ones. There's so much you could do, and it's clued Grammy category won twice each by Taylor Swift, Beyonce, and Johnny Cash, which it's like a nice piece of trivia, but is it fun? Is it like surprising and puzzly when you work it out? I mean, maybe you're like, oh, I didn't know the Grammys had a category for music video. That's surprising, but again, it's not like a thing that I figured out, a big fun revealer. The other one that I brought up on Friday was 37 Down, Sad Lot, which ends up being pretty bad, mostly because it's crossing with shtetl, which we'll talk about in a second. But I was like, I like the phrase sad lot. I like thinking of a sad lot. Oh, look at this sad lot. But it's clued, they're awfully sorry. Well, they're sorry. Like it's sorry not meaning, oh, I'm so sorry. It's sorry meaning sad, like a sad lot is. They're awfully sorry. It's like that's the kind of misdirect they were going for. But there's a better way to clue that. Right? There's like a way that you can clue that would make that enjoyable, for me at least, and make it not as bad. Now it's still crossing with shtetl, which, yeah, we can talk about that. But that was it for me. I think was I loved You Do That 31 across, because I love visualizing a person going, you do that, just like totally biting, scathing sarcasm, but it's clued go for it, which is it's accurate
with an exclamation point.
No exclamation point. Go for it.
Oh, go for it. No punctuation. You're right. I was looking at the different clue. Thank you.
So this was like, again, it's accurate. It's something that you could say in that same tone. Go for it. And it's sort of a misdirection, because go for it, when you first read it, you like naturally think it's going to be a positive thing. And this is the opposite. So they've got the misdirection, but they don't allow you to have fun in that visual of someone saying you do that. So maybe it's personal preference, but the majority of the cluing in this was kind of a letdown for me. And it left the puzzle feeling kind of blah.
This is a puzzle that I look back on, and I'm kind of surprised that I didn't have more fun doing it. Because there are individual clues in here that are quite fun and that I would love to see in a puzzle. Mint Oreo crosses with Throne Room. With both clued, I mean, Mint Oreo is kind of clued generically, but Throne Room clued as lavatory informally. That's super fun. You get apple teenies, and you cross apple teenies with e-collaborator, which becomes peel.
Fun.
And it's right next to go-getter, which becomes tiger. Like, there's so many little pieces in this that are really great. And I still didn't have that much fun doing it. And I wonder if that was just me, like, having a personal problem. I didn't get a lot of sleep Thursday night. I was kind of pouty on Friday. It could have just been that. Maybe I just needed a nap. But I think you're right about music video. I got the S of PSAT crossing with music video and just instinctively put in best, because most categories for awards are best things. And so I was stuck there for a little while.
Yeah.
I think 17 across when things are going well on a good day is like a beige, like a manila folder tacked to a beige wall. It's one of the most boring long clues in my mind.
But you
Didn't
could
enjoy
clue
very
that
much.
fun. You could clue that fun.
Absolutely. Avocado toast is a fun thing to type in, but I didn't like it clued as stereotypical millennial breakfast item. A, because it's boring. We've been there.
Yeah.
I'm a millennial. There's more fun ways to do that. I mean to say is not that fun. White space is not that fun. There's things in here that just don't even it's just not quite there. And so I'm 23 down. I'm being a little bit of a grump about this crossword, which is hilarious. That's the clue, one with crosswords. I was a grump about this crossword on Friday. I don't even need to talk that much about Shtetl and Sad Lot. I think you're right. I think it ends up being a really, really bad cross. I said in the rapid reactions that it might be the worst cross of the year. That didn't even last 24 hours, so I'm not that worried about it.
I don't think it's the worst cross of the year. Maybe
it was a tough cross.
Yeah, there's a subset of foreign language on the crossword that is Hebrew, Yiddish, very big Jewish population doing the New York Times crossword. So you're allowed to do foreign language as long as it's well known. And if it's well known to a big section of your audience, then go for it. We're not part of that section, so it's harder for me to say, can't believe they've done this. But
I'm gonna tell on myself before we get to Saturday. 33 across should have been a gimme for most people. Name spelled by the first letters of consecutive calendar months. I bet this took you probably 8 seconds. I looked at this clue and came back to it over and over again. It was one of the very last things that I got. I could not. It ends up being Jason, July, August, September, October, November. And that should have been the easiest. But for some reason, I thought it had to be multiple letters at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, June, July is Juju. That's not really a good name. July, August is like, okay, maybe you take the J of July and then the AU of August and then the SE, Jows. And I was just trying to take multiple letters. I went through the entire, I had the J of Jif and I still couldn't get it. It was an absolute slog. I need to get better sleep on Thursday nights if I'm going to try to do Friday crossword puzzles.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those brain fart moments. So
let's talk about Saturday.
Let's.
Oh, Throne Room is an honorable mention. Ass watch.
Truth.
Let's talk about Saturday, and I'm just going to dive right in here with the worst cross of the week, which is 44 across and 45 down. 44 across is Frank Blank, progressive era novelist who wrote The Octopus and McTeague. 45 down is Blank Vincent, bluegrass singer inducted into the Grand Ole Opry. It is Frank Norris and Rhonda Vincent. It's two proper nouns that nobody knows, and it is the worst in a crossword that includes 16 different clues about proper nouns.
Which is a big number. More than you want. Some of them are golden. We got Willem Dafoe.
Love Willem Dafoe.
We've got Ving Rhames. Fantastic talent.
No idea who that was.
Really?
I've never seen the Mission Impossible movies.
You're joking.
I've never seen the Mission Impossible movies.
What?
No. Do you need to just do 5 minutes on that right now?
No, I mean, you should. Like, they're just a delight. Okay, whatever. You've seen Pulp Fiction.
That's on, I have.
He's in Pulp Fiction? Yeah.
Who's he in Pulp Fiction?
He's Marcellus Wallace. Is that what his name is? Who does Marcellus Wallace? Does he look like a...
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, that's on me. I should have known that one. I still think it's rough that it crosses two other...
Okay, hold on. Hold on. We're getting to the bad ones. Rhames is great. Ving Rhames is great. We love him. We love Willem Dafoe. We love Adele. And this is a cute as hell clue. Cutest clue of the week, by far. Who had us at hello?
She had us at hello.
She did. I mean, she had us before then. It wasn't on her first album, so questionable. But by then she had us for sure. And then Laura Dern. Uh, every crossword could have Laura Dern in it, and I would be over the moon. Over the moon. So yeah, we have a small subset of really good proper nounage, and then it continues on to an unhealthy level. Go ahead.
No, you're absolutely right. I will leave my Laura Dern takes for off camera. I think Laura Dern is great. I have other problems with this clue, but I'll leave those for off camera. But what I will say is ufologists is even fun. It's one of those that you don't know and then you learn it and then it's great. It was kind of like what's the word that we subordinolapse? The opposite of palindromes is subordinolapse, and they decided to make that a clue, and it was like you don't learn it and then you know it and it's great. So that's an example of that. For me, who they track discoveries, they're ufologists, so that's the positives. But man, there's just it's really tough. I don't think we did. Oh, you thought this was a good Saturday. I guess I should let you do that.
I didn't have a great time, but I did recognize that it was a really hard Saturday, which we need every once in a while. We need just like a kick you in the teeth, slap your mama hard Saturday. And this was that. This was like really, really tough. And an amount of that difficulty came from the proper nounage, which is bad, and you don't want that to be the difficulty. But a lot of it just came from good Saturday tough crossword construction. And for me, it was like, for what did I have? I think was it 12 down? No, it was 13 down. No. Oh, it was 14 down. Produce and pods. I had soybeans, which worked for a lot of those letters. And then I had snap peas, which worked for even more of those letters. And soybeans worked with logo for G as for Google.
I also had logo at first.
So it was just like, it was tough cranking this out. But by the end of it, you're not mad about snow peas, right? It's like, that was tough. That was tough.
It's a good misdirect. It's a really good misdirect.
There are a lot of produce that comes in pods. So like, it's tough Saturday, tough but fair. And the best thing for me, and I think what kind of saved this puzzle at the very end, was one across. Because you see it and you're like, no idea. I don't know that many computing fields. Hopefully I'll get some crosses. And I had caricature, and I had ufologists, and I had Defoe, and acute, and eco, and Stitch eventually. I never got bush hog because of bush hog. But I had artistes. I had all these letters, and I was like, how do I not see a word here? What kind of field of computing are they bringing up that enough people would know they could put it in there, but that I don't see it with all of these letters? And then if you finally see it, and it's that like, oh, to, oh, shit, that sucks. And then to, okay, the kind of like, God, I hate that you did that, but you did it. It is a field of computing. It's a field on your computer, and it's an address bar. And that is Saturday to me. It's just like that incredibly devious, crunchy stuff, which this puzzle had a lot of. And so, yeah, did I have the best time doing it? No. Was it my puzzle of the week? Absolutely not. But I think it did succeed in being a really, really hard Saturday, and that's worth putting out there.
Yeah, I'm not happy about the way it got there. It's too many pronouns, as we said. It's also too many just like bad clues, in addition to like there's the good misdirects. I think snowed peas is a good misdirect. I think address bar is a good misdirect. I actually like stem cell was one for me that I looked at for a long time and struggled with, because that bottom left hand corner is really tough. But then you've got like 9 down is artistes. That's just artists. And we're adding a letter to make it fit. And I know you said on the rapid reactions that artiste is different from artist, and it doesn't. It means the same thing.
It doesn't.
An artiste is an artist.
No, there's a different definition.
What's the different definition?
An artist is like anyone who makes art. An artiste is a person who performance for a group. They didn't include it that way, which is really upsetting, and put it as a virtuoso, which doesn't mean the same thing as artiste.
I don't even think I need to counter argue that, because I think that's how flimsy that argument is. And I'm not saying it's your argument. It's probably the argument of the constructor, but it's just so flimsy. It barely holds any water at all.
If they included it the right way, I think it would have been a lot better.
And it crosses with 24 across many a unicorn, which could have been so many fun things, and you decide to go into a tech startup. Oh my God. I basically threw up on my phone for that one. There's just a lot in here that's just not fun.
I agree.
Because here's the thing. Tech startups, virtually none of them are unicorns. Like 99% of tech startups are copycats. Yeah. Like that's the thing, is that it's not even that it's not fun. We were promised unicorns and instead we got tech bros. But it's that's not even what tech bros are. They're not unicorns. They're literally copycats. So it's just, ugh.
Mini a unicorn is a tech startup. Not many a tech startup is a unicorn, because you're right. It's incredibly rare. But in the sense of all things that are unicorns, a lot of them are tech startups, because there aren't that many unicorns out there.
Giannis Antetokounmpo
is a unicorn.
Victor Wembanyama, Kevin Durant. All of these people are one of ones.
I didn't realize
they are absolute unicorns. That's a better. You could have gone to NBA players. Those are unicorns.
A unicorn is an actual term that they use for tech startups. It's not an official NBA term. It's if you're using it in like that very open way of like just someone who's unique, who's one of a million, then yeah, there's plenty of them out there.
I was well rested for this puzzle, and it's still like a 2.5 out of 10. Let's talk about Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday, I got unlucky on this one because it's a fun theme. And how many themers are there in this? 7?
8.
8 themers in this one. And I got unlucky because the ones I got first were A Ward of the State, A Bridge Too Far, A Tone Poem, and A Head of Steam. And then
you thought they were all going to...
I just put A's at the beginning of every other clue.
That's tough.
And that slowed me down quite a bit.
Yeah.
That is through no fault of the creator of this puzzle, Mike Hoban. But it slowed me down. What did you think of this theme?
I like the theme, and I like that it was... Mike did kind of switch it up. You know, we've got ones where we're adding an A to make sense of it, and ones where we're kind of taking away an A to make sense of it. I think it made it harder because, you couldn't go in and like fill each of those in. But it's a fine theme. I think it's not. I'm a big fan of wackily themed clues. You know, what was my favorite one here? I think it was, Slowly Grew Apart. Yeah, it's very bottom. It's wacky. Successfully used Rogaine. Like it's very wacky, which I'm a big fan of. It's not doing anything that crazy and remarkable, but there's 8 of them. So.
My favorite is also pretty wacky. 104 across, Where Stealth is Found in the Dictionary.
I mean, that's true. It's true. There's probably other things as well that are in there, but so yeah, they're fun and they're wacky, and there's 8 of them, which you can't ask for more than 8 themers in a Sunday. And the fill was not bad. I think this is one of those examples where there were way more than 8 that you could have used. You know, it's not like you were stuck to these 8 and you had to build a puzzle around it. It was like you can pick the one of the eight best of the like 30 or 40 that you could do, and not just best like sounding, but best in the way that they fit into this grid, and you can build some pretty good fill around it. So I like this. I think I like this kind of a Sunday better than the kind where you get, 5 themers and they're all incredibly specific and they take up the whole board. And, this one, it's like there's something you get and there's something you don't. And you just have more chances for success when you have 8 of them.
I agree, and I had a fun time with this puzzle. I think that there's a lot of good. One of my favorites was over here in the left-hand corner. You get Tug of War, you get Emeralds, you get that crossing with Sad Face. Slowly Grew Apart is very, very good. And there's a couple of like kind of rough moments. X and O for tic-tac-toe sides, and crossing that with Makes More Attractive to turn into Sex Is Up is
and Spate.
And right there with Spate.
Yeah.
It's not as great. There Amsterdam Maury is also in there, or Maury Amsterdam. I have no idea who that is, but I did not watch the Dick Van Dyke Show.
You can kind of tell like where the focus was. The focus was definitely on Tug of War and Emeralds. All those crosses are pretty good, except for like Sewers at the very bottom.
The word is plaintiffs. Come on.
And the top right, Listen To and Anti-Hero. All those crosses are pretty good. So you gotta like give up some things, and it's in that kind of middle bottom right thing that you brought up. The reverse is also kind of not the best. We've got Raquel Welch and Kabul and Olnai 53 down.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of like can like tuck the bad things away into a corner to open up the rest of the grid and make it for a more enjoyable experience.
Yeah. And I think that just as a personal preference, I kind of railed against too many proper nouns in the last puzzle. But if you have the opportunity to put Taylor Swift in a puzzle, you put Taylor Swift in the damn puzzle.
You gotta.
So if you're looking at Anti-Hero, it's almost like I'm about to be a sewer about that, because there's got to be some sort of legal remedy that I can get for having Anti-Hero, and you didn't clue it with Taylor Swift. So
it's a big miss.
This is a very pro Taylor Swift podcast,
famously.
So that was a big one for me.
I think about the editors who received this puzzle, and maybe when they received it, that song hadn't come out yet, right? Probably. So at that point, do you go back to Mike and say, "Hey, Mike, we got an idea. What if we clued this as the popular Taylor Swift song that's all over? Everyone loves it." Like that's kind of an awkward conversation to have with.
But it clearly happens though, because we've had Taylor Swift Midnight's clues since it came out. Like, it quickly became part of the zeitgeist. It's in puzzles now. So either this thing has just been sitting for a long time and they were just like, we never touch things that have been sitting, and other ones just like somehow were forward in the queue, or they're willing to go back and be like, hey, by the way, this puzzle's been waiting for 8 months. In the last 8 months, this big thing happened. We can fit that in. How do you feel?
Yeah.
And maybe they did ask, and maybe, it's, I suppose it's possible that Mike said no. I doubt that, but it's possible.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the week in crosswords. It was an up and down week from both of our perspectives, although we might give you different ups and downs. Did you have a worst cross of the week?
I wasn't a fan of waif crossing with chives in this puzzle. I think it's like a similar amount of badness coming together. But the worst for me is what was it? Wednesday?
Probably Norris and Rhonda.
No, it's
Saturday.
It's not Norris and Rhonda. Honestly, to be real with you.
Yeah, go ahead.
And it's not Sadlot and Stettel. Where was it?
Is it Monday?
Oh, Bass Ale? No.
My worst cross of the week is Norris and Ronda. That should come as no surprise. I thought it was going to be Stettel and Sadlot, but it's not.
Oh, man, this is very annoying.
I'll also, while Alex looks, I will also tell you that my puzzle of the week, also no surprise, was Wednesday's puzzle with the anagrams. That was just a great time. Absolutely great time.
I think for me, it's kind of a cop-out, but Comfeats and Ma on Thursday. And
That's valid.
It's sort of because it's also right there with Dark Star and Encino and Pede and just...
It's more of like a cross that gets worse because of the section that it's in.
Yeah, it's not like one bad cross in a puzzle. It's like, man, yeah. Thursday, we talked about it.
Puzzle of the week?
Puzzle of the week for me was Monday.
Great puzzle.
Yeah.
Great puzzle.
How about you?
It was Wednesday for me. Yeah. It's one of the better Wednesdays. Monday is absolutely, it's an all-timer, but so is Wednesday. And I like Wednesdays a little bit more. We didn't really have an Ass Watch to speak of this week. That's 2 weeks in a row. But those of you who follow along and do the mini crossword know that on Saturday we had an Ass Clue, and that was it crossed with one across Professor Dumbledore of the Harry Potter books. That's Albus, and the down Donkey by another name. That's Ass.
Would smell sweet.
And Joel Fagliano, who does the minis and overwhelmingly constructs the minis, but also edits them when other people construct. Joel, don't think for a minute that just because we don't focus on the Monday or on the mini, that we don't have eyes on you for Ass Watch. We have eyes for all asses in the New York Times crossword, and we see it and we see you. And I would argue that the mini is even more of a time to go all in on ass and be able to clue it as a butt, because it's a mini. We're here to have fun.
We're here for a good time, not a long time. We're doing the mini. I agree. There's always next week.
There's always next week. Anything else you got?
No, that's it for me.
That's it for this week. Until next time, you can find us on Instagram at 2acrosspod for instant reactions to the crossword every day.
This episode was produced by David Cohn and edited by Judd Bushler, mastering from Alan Iverson. Original music by Clark Singleton. This is 2 Across.
And that's another one down. I wasn't supposed to lead that.